Hello and welcome to another episode of Mobile Technology Spotlight, sponsored by T-Mobile for Government and presented by Public Safety Insight. T-Mobile is committed to supporting public safety and helping first responders use technology as a force multiplier. I'm Dale Stockton, and today I'll be talking with Sheriff Joe Colston from the Monroe County, Missouri Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Colston has served in law enforcement for more than 17 years, and he became sheriff at the beginning of 2021 after having been the chief deputy for several years. Also served as a volunteer firefighter for almost 20 years. Sheriff Colston is with us today because his department is one of the most advanced in the country in terms of effectively leveraging mobile devices, specifically smartphones, as a force multiplier. Monroe County has been a featured presentation at the National Sheriff's Association Conference, the IACP Technology Conference, and most recently, the IACP Annual Conference in San Diego. And Monroe County's been written up in multiple publications. So let's find out more about this unique story from Sheriff Colston. Sheriff, start with the basics. Tell us a little bit about your county and your agency, please.
Sure. So Monroe County is a small rural county in northeast Missouri. We have a population of less than 9,000 residents, but cover a large area of about 680 square miles. We have a large portion of Mark Twain Lake and have several visitors to Monroe County. We have, including myself, 8 full-time law enforcement officers with some reserves that do some part-time work, and we cover the entire county. The only other municipality with local law enforcement is Monroe City, so we cover pretty much everything else.
So after you became sheriff, you introduced some new technology to your organization. Tell us about that, please.
Sure. So when I took over, technology was something we were most definitely lacking. We didn't have any kind of mobile computing. We had outdated body cameras and just really lacked in technology. I had heard about Samsung DeX, and so we started by issuing smartphones to each of our full-time folks and utilizing Samsung DeX for mobile computing for our deputies.
So you mentioned Samsung DeX. Probably some people in the audience aren't familiar with that term. I'll give it a brief explanation. I want you to expand on that, if you would. Essentially, you take your smartphone and you connect it with a hub to a display and a dedicated keyboard, and now you have the equivalent. You want to tell us more and how you're using it?
Sure. So our deputies are using it for all their computing needs right now. We have stations set up in their office where they plug into a hub, as you said, and they're able to do the report writing, keep logs, look up information, and get into the RMS and the CAD system. And then we also have a setup in the car where they're able to take that same phone and go to their vehicle, have the same information available to them when they're out and about in their patrol vehicle.
Wow. So let's not miss the importance of this. They're using a smartphone for an in-car computer and an in-station computer. You don't have the traditional conventional in-car laptop, do you?
We do not. No.
And how's that working out for them overall?
It's working out really well. My folks are excited about it. They enjoy using it. It's very simple to use, and they're able to access all the information that they just haven't been able to utilize out in the field before.
So the setup in the patrol cars and the hardware, how is that set up? Can you describe that? And who did you get to install this for you?
So we're using a Gamer Johnson touchscreen with a detachable keyboard that has a trackpad embedded in the keyboard. There is a hub that connects all the devices together. You plug the phone in to the hub, and then Samsung activates on the touchscreen. You utilize it. It's mounted in the vehicle just like a standard laptop would be. And my chief deputy and I actually installed all these in all our patrol vehicles in a matter of just a week or so.
Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. You and the chief deputy did the install.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
All right. That's impressive. That's impressive. I appreciate that. That probably saved you some significant budget dollars, didn't it?
It did. The installation was very simple. It's just a couple of power and ground wires, and the mounts actually go into the existing seat bolts. So it was pretty simple to install.
Now, earlier in the program, you mentioned outdated equipment and you mentioned specifically body cameras. I understand your smartphones are helping you out there. Can you explain that, please?
Yeah, our smartphones do double duty. We use an application from Visual Labs that we install on each of these phones that allows that phone uses the camera in the phone to act as a body camera.
Wow. So if you're using it as a body camera or a body worn camera, some people would say, do you lose the functionality of the smartphone?
You do not.
So you're able to, now we've talked about using it as an in-car computer and now a body worn camera, and it's still a fully functioning smartphone. That's pretty impressive. Let's go to the other side of the equation with Visual Labs. It's not just turning it into a body worn camera. They have the ability to provide you some analytics. Is that the case?
It is on the back end. It's very impressive. There's a web interface where you can get a GPS location. It gives you latitude and longitude and a GPS marker on all your recorded video. If you're traveling at the time, it'll show your path of travel. You can see areas, even when the camera is not recording, if that application is active, any location of each and every deputy during their shift. They log out of that at the end of their shift so that their phone's not being tracked all the time. But when they're on shift, you can see every road, every path they've taken, every call they've been on. And there's just a huge amount of information, their speed when they're traveling.
Excellent. Now, I know that there's kind of this new feature with some body worn cameras, and some agencies are using the ability to live stream if a deputy gets in trouble or you can't reach them. Do you have that capability?
We do. We're able to log in and activate those deputies' cameras. They get a notification on the camera when it's activated, but yeah, we can live stream at any point in time from any of those cameras.
I'm inclined to ask, you've got such a rural county in these wide open spaces. Cell phones aren't going to work everywhere. Radios aren't going to work anywhere. You may not be able to reach your deputy. So this combination of having multiple communication devices, radio, smartphone, and being able to live stream, does that mitigate the whole sometimes we just can't reach them challenge?
It does. We have, between all the avenues we have between radios and smartphones, we have few areas where we have issues with communication at this point in time. So it makes me feel better when my guys are out there knowing that they've got the ability to reach out and contact us if they need help, and we're able to get a hold of them.
This is beyond impressive, and you very effectively leveraged tech as a force multiplier. Now, you made a major change recently in your mobile program. You've been at this a couple of years, but you switched carriers. Can you tell us about that?
We did. I learned about a program offered by T-Mobile during some conferences and other events, and began to explore it. And it seemed like a really good fit for us here in Monroe County. We were able to kind of take a cell phone for a test drive for a couple of weeks and make sure we were going to have good coverage. We're very impressed with the coverage and the speed. We have better 5G connectivity than we had in the past. So we opted to make a full-time transition.
Wow. That's great. And of course, with video, speed is really important. I expect 5G is going to pay some benefits there. So you've done so much. Are you planning any expansion of your mobile program? And if you are, how are you going to pay for it on a limited budget?
So we are. We're currently in the process of we're testing actually through Visual Labs a dash camera system that also works through the cell phone. What I didn't mention earlier with the T-Mobile program is we're actually saving money by switching to T-Mobile. That savings looks like it is most likely going to be able to cover the cost of our dash camera program.
Wow. So let's make sure we get this right. You've got coverage where you didn't have it. You've got better speed. You're saving money, which in turn is going to allow you to expand your program significantly. Did I get that right?
That's absolutely right.
Wow. That's impressive. Any recommendations as we wind down here for other law enforcement leaders that are thinking about going mobile? You've been in front of so many audiences. What would you tell them?
Well, my recommendation would be not to hesitate. I think some agencies have had some hesitation going with a mobile program using cell phones. The technology is there. You do have to do some research, make sure that the systems you're currently using are compatible with whatever program you're seeking out, and take the time to test it, because the technology that you're able to utilize and the cost savings are an extreme benefit. You'll be able to expand your programs faster than you think.
Got it. The story is just so compelling on so many levels. Sheriff, I so appreciate you sharing this with us today, and the fact you've been willing to share with other agencies through the conference workshops and in some articles. And in that light, it's probably noteworthy that a feature story and the first 2024 edition of the FBI National Academy Associates magazine is going to be Monroe County. And we'll get some links in the show notes for some of the previous articles, and hopefully we'll spread the word. So with that, I just want to tell you, thank you, Sheriff, for spending the time with us. And for the audience, today's episode of Mobile Technology Spotlight has been sponsored by T-Mobile for Government and presented by Public Safety Insight. Stay safe out there.